I say sorry. When you hear this song, I know you gon' be hella angry. Can't believe I went through so much fun that I got on me. Yeah, this shit is toxic. And I've been learning and I've been changing. With time to switch your lanes, lane switch. She said that I broke her heart, I give no apology. Then I do the dash like my Mari. And I never even gave her any warning. Lately I've been noticing that I be getting hungry. Let me eat it up, me only. Baby, you don't got a reason to be afraid. Yet still, I feel like you don't even want to trust me. And all these other niggas do not trust me. I only want you, baby, only. You said you want me to, baby, maybe. I said that I would always love you. But that was only if you always love me. I can never, ever, ever trust you. Baby, I can show you everything. You know I can try and give you everything. I've been trying my hardest to show you things. I've been trying my hardest to show you things. And you can tell me what you haven't told your parents yet. You can call me anytime, you know I'll be right there. If it's love you want it, then you know that we couldn't share. Yeah, I see the pain in your heart while you scared. All these emotions, they run into my head all day. Yeah, they like the song on my music. Yeah, they like the way that I use it.
And we're live.
We like, yo, nah, that's out of copy. Let's go. Hey,
No second take.
hey, yo, hey, relax, 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 relax,
That's
relax,
how I do
Get
it,
take
you
that as
know.
the intro.
relax, relax. Now let us think in mental though. So anyway, yo guys, welcome back to Easy Dubs. Back again with our next podcast. Your boy is back. Kodz is back. Sorry for the, my absence, but everything good, everything fresh. We have some brand new exciting topics for you guys. Um, let me get into it. We had the regular cast. Gio, Akili, JohnWick. Still don't know what we call you that. Yeah, but we have Manuel, Dookie, and a very important guest, a special one, a most passionate one. We have Sarah. Can you kindly introduce yourself? Oh, say it like that.
Hi, good night, everybody. My name is Sarah. Yeah, and I'm real grateful for to be invited to this. I can't wait to discuss, and yeah, let's go.
Nice, 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 nice. Okay, I mean, the other people we waiting on the other people, but I guess we could like jump right into it. Our first topic on this hand is the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. The cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. So now, Tuki, before we went live, you were still talking about KFC, right? Oh, you say like
Yeah.
what was the whole song?
On the app, on the KFC app, you can put in your location, or you could type in your location as well, and it will ask you to confirm your location. After I press confirm the location, they say that they cannot deliver up here. Right? When I call them now, they went and asked. I went and asked them if they could deliver up here. They say, well, I'll talk to the driver. The driver say, okay, it's kind of dangerous up there. That is why the delivery can't go up there from the app. So he asked me the directions. I tell him directions, and thankfully they get to deliver it to me. So
Oh, okay. So did you say you too afraid to come up inside it?
yeah, yeah. And even when I was ordering my PC as well, my computer, the people and them was like, oh, we don't feel safe up there. That we meet by Grand Bazaar or something. So
Grand Bazaar.
Where you living, bro?
I live in Mova, but them living somewhere else, I guess.
Oh,
Okay.
What you mean? What you mean? Oh,
Oh.
listen
Now,
here.
like, no offense, I they like Carnage to have a, like, they have a reputation. Yeah.
Fried chicken. That's crazy.
No.
Okay, so let me really get into the topic. The cost of living in Trinidad, all I think it is high, cheap, medium. What are you talking
Hi.
about?
Ridiculously
High.
expensive.
You pay any bills, JohnWick? Don't mind.
You pay any bills? Cody talking about hi.
Well. Well, I didn't say it was high, low, or nothing, So it's you came on and said what it
Oh
was.
well, I still think it's
You
high no matter
you
what.
can't put that question on me. You understand what I'm
Well,
saying?
I still think it's high.
Why you think it's high?
Why? You see, first of all, let's talk about the pandemic, right? How groceries have went up because I know how much my parents used to spend on groceries versus now. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. It's
I'm not gonna
ridiculous. So
call
that
the amount, but they'd go up by more than $1,000, and that's ridiculous.
and that's ridiculous. So that's why you think
No,
it's
we
high
was
because of groceries.
Cause of wait,
yeah,
but I
that's
didn't hear him. I didn't hear him just now. Cause of what?
That's why you think it's high because of groceries.
Not only that, like library, like the minimum wage for Trinidad is what 17.50, and that's
18,
not
18.50.
really helping. Wait, sorry, what she said?
It's actually 18.50, but still
Oh, they
very
raised by
low.
$1.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's not really helping much people though.
Yeah, I
But
definitely
talk
agree with that
about
statement.
you see,
Things
talk
are
about
going.
we
on
thought things
average,
was
right?
bad when we thought things was bad when Goody and things started raise. But things get worse now, you know?
That's true. That's true. That's true. I
But
mean, when we do expect things to get higher, but how hard as well. But at the same time too, things hard when people like us, right? When people like us not getting jobs as well.
Exactly. You see,
Like,
the amount of pay again and it just is the same while the cost of living increasing, what I go cause
if you're
people can't really
working,
do nothing again.
if you're working for 18.50 an hour, right, average 8 hours a day, you get $148 a day, right? So
okay.
you think that is enough
Okay,
for
but
like
realistically, let's be
somebody
real,
to
for the people working for that,
asking
and people
asking
still have families to take care of.
right? I'm asking, do you think that it is good enough to sustain a
Nope,
household in general?
nope. So how
All right,
much? It
all
One
don't
right.
matter
little
how much. It don't matter how
you know,
much. Still, the
It
answer is
really
no.
doesn't matter how much.
The answer is still no. It don't matter how much.
I,
It's
I
still
think what she's
no.
trying to say is that the cost of living is going up, but our salaries aren't increasing. So no matter what, until we get a salary increase or they change that particular system, we're
Mm-hmm.
still going to suffer. Like the cost of living is going to be extremely high, only except for the people like the 1% who could afford it. But everything else is
Yeah, but
very expensive for the middle
yeah, but
class and the
thing
lower class.
Okay.
Yeah, but even if you raise it though, like let's say we raise the 1815 thing, you still don't think like people won't get jobs or they still will hire people. They will like I still think they will still drop more people
Oh no,
and have
definitely.
people
Cost of
doubling
living
their
and
work.
employment, two different things, completely two different things. Yeah, I don't
I
think
know that,
employment
but I
levels will
still think
change
that
at all.
I still think they won't like, employ as
Yeah.
much people still. They still will drop
if
them.
they
Yeah,
can
if
really,
they
they
if they
really
would probably say if they increase in anybody's pay, they're gonna fire more people to kind of like account for that deficit they're losing. So they're gonna want to get rid of certain people and make people do more work for an increase in
Hmm.
salary.
Yeah.
you hear about the Unilever, how they firing one set of people because a new set of people by the
Anti
company.
and tech. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
banks.
they firing one set of people. You see, so it have no jobs and the cost of living increasing and the payments remaining stagnant. So the
Stop.
economy just going downhill.
Don't talk.
And the
And
US
then
in a
on
recession too.
And then on top of that too, it's not like that little one ship. I mean, we're grateful for the jobs that came for the cruise. Well, yeah, but that's still not hiring much people. It's still have plenty of people who need jobs. So yeah.
But what I really want to
So
say is right. What I really want to say is right. since everybody seems to be in agreement, right, that the cost of living high in Trinidad, right? And then I think Sarah had mentioned that the cost of living in Trinidad high, but salary is not increasing, right? So I want to ask now, why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, besides COVID, I think companies, not a lot of them are making a significant amount of money to, let's say, increase people's salaries. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I don't have enough information to talk about, like, give a general answer to that. But also, like, let's be real, like, when you're buying something, obviously you want it cheaper. You know, you want the best deal. But if you're also the person selling something, you want to make a profit. So I feel like that's just how things will always work. The bosses or the people in charge will never want to dish out more when they can dish out less. It's like, why would I pay you more if you're already accepting what I'm giving you now? Like, you know, you need that job, so you're gonna hold on to it. So I feel like there's not much people can actually do, because in this economic times it's so scary. Like, you could instantly lose your job and be replaced, because let's be real, anybody else would be willing to take your job in times like this. So it's kind of hard to fight that whole, I want an increase, but it's also like, where's the extra money gonna come from to pay you?
That's a fact. That's a fact. Okay, so now you're saying that, how you talk about it on like a company level, I would say. Like, what do you think should be done on a government type of level?
So, what I think, what will never happen, firstly, corruption needs to end. But let's be real, that's not gonna happen, because all the ministers and them, like, I'm not like gonna say who or whatever, like general, like I'll just generalize it. A lot of them make a lot of money, right? All of them make a lot of
Mm-hmm.
money. And I remember somebody was telling Rowley to like decrease the amount of money he's getting so he could give public servants more. And he's like, no, he wants his 12%. And there was a kind of conversation like that. And while I do understand that these ministers do certain things that makes them get a higher pay, it's like they're up there, they're enjoying life, they're not really facing the same struggles as the lower and middle class. So why would they even care? It's like, for example, any problem that you have within a country in terms of its culture is going to take a very long time to shift it. And Chinese are accustomed to doing the bare minimum and then still expecting money. Like, a lot of them are very complacent and lazy, but they still want to get paid. And I mean, who doesn't want to get paid at the end of the day? Time is money. And if you're going to a job, you expect to be paid, but it also has to be like a whole reroute of the entire system. You know, deal with things properly, get it from the start, so that way it doesn't like continuously form this problem, and then when it's too late you can't fix it because you have no money, or the system done corrupt to the point where it's never gonna change. And I feel like that's kind of where we are in Trinidad. Everybody's so accustomed to the corruption and how things don't really work, and we're just so okay with it because that's like, a lot of people don't think that they have much power, and even if they do have that power, they're too lazy to actually stand up and fight against it, because there's a lot of repercussions to fighting for what you want, or just, you know, saying that you want this or you want that, because they're obviously not gonna give you it just like that. They're gonna have bargains or like negotiations, and let's be real, like, how much say do you really have?
True, true, true. Okay,
I
so
think,
you're saying you was gonna say,
nah, go
John?
true. Go true. She said everything. Everybody to say.
So now, like, mm, I don't know, like my particular take on it is like, I would like to say that we can't do anything about it in the sense that, like, because we know we're going on like worldwide, there's always have a kind of ripple effect to other countries, especially to those countries, right? And in the grand scheme of things, I would think like I would think like we would have to sacrifice more, you know, in order to, I guess, to get benefit from everything. Because I mean, even though, like, if we consider the cost of living in Trinidad being high, right? I don't think nothing like I don't think you could do anything as a citizen like this, just as a citizen to like do anything about it or try to help solve this situation, you know? Especially if you're like middle class or like just above average. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just I just think I just said that all the ministers and them have plenty money and they could like probably just like but like what type of contingencies you want them to put in place in order to reduce the cost of living in Trinidad?
I think when for example, the housing industry. There's a lot
Mm,
of HGC housing or whatever, but cost of living, when you think about it, a lot of people's salaries go to rent or just the house in which they're living. And that's one of the most expensive things I could think of within Trinidad and Tobago besides groceries,
mm,
because you need shelter. And I would like to say provide greater subsidies on housing, but then again, we go to HGC and I could talk about, yes, the government have done some good stuff and provided homes to people, but the rate at which those things happen, I know people who send an application, they're like waiting 25 years. Like the system is inefficient. It is always something like it's always like I need a little extra money for it to have oil and actually move. So that's the thing, like I feel there's so much things that we could say, but it's up to them at the end of the day to actually do it and to meet with the public. Because let's be real, like you can't just give the public everything they want. Like that's not sustainable, and that definitely won't make sense, especially with the kind of people we have in Trinidad. But
mm,
it's important to understand where the public is coming from and hear their concerns and actively open so that you can do stuff to, like and put things in place to help it. So I don't want to just say make housing real cheap, because realistically that can't just happen like that. Real estate markets, all of that. But find a way to, I don't know, address the housing situation, whether it is making more HDC houses available for different family types or for like a lower income. Because a lot of people, they want these houses, but realistically their salaries cannot afford it, because if they pay for that, how are they gonna eat? How are they gonna sleep? How are they even gonna get stuff in the house? And that's kind of the problem. So I feel like there needs to be like a meeting ground so they can actually express the concerns and the government could give ideas or options of what can be done. Because I can't give the certain details of what is actually possible, because it would have to be like a kind of report conducted by them so they can understand what they can do and give the population a list of options to see which will like best meet everybody's needs or like the status quo. So it helps some people. I mean, everybody's not gonna win, but it's gonna be sufficient enough to help some people out of their situation. Like people are not having one job anymore; they're having like three, and that's just to live comfortably, and that is draining. And it also makes people very like the whole population very unproductive. Like they don't really care anymore. They're just chasing money to just pay bills, groceries, just eat, live, and repeat everything. So when I think of the standard of living in general, I think of also like how much time people spend in traffic, how much time people spend at their job, and how much time do they actually spend enjoying life or enjoying working all the time. And I can't find a middle ground. A lot of people say you just have to make it, but when people are so stressed out by I have to pay this bill and I don't know how I'm gonna do that and have enough groceries and pay for my kids this and do something for myself. Like it's so frustrating to the point it's like I don't even know, like, because you can't just say make things cheaper. Like that's just not how the economy works. But as I say, I think they really need to meet with the public, hear their concerns, actively listen to them, and then see what actually can be done instead of just making false promises or crazy suggestions. It has to be something that can benefit both without being some wild change to the economy, because it's really not possible. Inflation and all of that, economics. But I just feel like you need to hear the people first so that you can actually understand, and then we can go about like what decisions can be made.
okay, okay. I understand. And I agree.
Emmanuel, sorry for cutting you, Cody, but Emmanuel, don't you think that kind of like Goes back to the point we was making on our previous podcast where people just working for sustenance and opposed to, chasing their ambitions.
Hello? Manuel there? I guess he's not there, but I mean, I would actually agree with that. I mean, especially with in terms of like what we're doing right now. I mean, like, I don't think any of us, want to be stuck to a 9 to 5. But the reality is that most people actually do that because they, I guess, have to in a sense, as in like, to provide for themselves and possibly others. So in
I
terms
mean,
of like this whole term about enjoying what you do is not realistic to certain people in Trinidad in itself.
and also I feel like what the older generation starts is like, understand like this generation here, it's thoughtful in a type of way because we thinking it's so hard one for us to get jobs right now that we thinking for our future we might not want certain things like we might not want kids anymore. We might not want, I say like what else is there? We might not want a big house. We might not want a lot of things because of how hard things are.
Okay, yeah, I could see where you're coming from. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's all about our mindset as well too. I mean, like, because people just be saying that you can never say that you have any jobs. You could hustle, always find a dollar.
I mean,
You
you
know what I
could
mean?
hustle there, but when you say hustle, especially in Trinidad, I feel like I mean like a lot of illegal things on this weekend.
No, no.
No,
Well,
no, no, this weekend like
like
crazy.
in some cases, not like illegal. I mean, like do like stuff. You know what I mean? Like little things. I mean, like
Like a side job on Instagram or something, open a store selling clothes, something like that.
I know what you
yeah,
meant there, but
something
I
like
just feel
that.
like in Trinidad sometimes.
No,
It's just that
definitely. That's
people.
why a lot of people. That's why crime is so bad. Like you make the standard
For
of
real.
living. Well, you're not making, but the standard of living is so bad. People like they reach that point where my family had to eat and I have no job. I'm not making any money every day. I look in. This is so frustrating. Crime.
I'm gonna stand by Maury Street today, basically. That's literally what's going on.
More shit.
No, because like people like like I see so much more people begging at the side of the road now with their children
For real.
since COVID. Like
Oh,
and like at first I was just there like, that time you spend begging, you could be doing something. But then I started to think, Sarah, maybe she can't. She have two kids. Who's gonna watch them? And
It's
also
even that. It's like these places now that hiring too. I mean, like, yes, security jobs, I think you might not have as much, but these places too, like, you know what they're asking for?
yeah, they ask for a lot and they pay you like the bare minimum. My friend, she actually had to
Exactly.
send out a job. She had to send out something on behalf of her boss. And the kind of bullet points, like they had like 10 bullet points of the requirements, and the pay was like $3,000. And I was just there like, and she literally said, I feel bad to put this out there because people like how as an employer, like are you when you're thinking of paying, like you're hiring somebody and you want to pay them a certain stipend, how like are you thinking can somebody live off of this, or you just saying, well, this is what I'm willing to give? And I think that's where a lot of
hmm.
people get confused. Employers don't really care that much to be like, wow, I don't think somebody can live off of this. They are studying their business, their money, their income, growing their profits. So it's about how much they're willing to put out. And they are saying, well, I'm giving it as an option. I'm not making anybody forcefully do this job or anything like that as an option. But the kind of requirements for certain jobs these days and the level of experience they want and the kind of money they paying you, the maths don't maths. Like I really don't understand how they arrive to these conclusions. But as I said, they're not thinking can this sustain a person and their lifestyle. They're just thinking this is how much I'm willing to put out and somebody will want it.
That particularly very sad. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I
But
think it's like, I think you want to not go there. I'm sorry, I called you.
no problem. Go ahead.
I think yeah, a lot of places have, you could just put a link, but down here to get a link is ridiculous.
To
Like
get a
you need,
link.
because
Well,
you
I
have to
mean,
be, it's not even like managers, you have to know the boss at this point.
in particular, like me, a friend of mine, a colleague of mine at work, shout out to Elijah. Me, he and I was having a conversation about links in particular, meaning that how he was saying that how like suggesting that how links is only a bad thing when you're not on the side of links. You understand? As in like people with links can't necessarily complain, you know, especially with particular stuff. And then he was mentioning about the hierarchy of like you could have, your degree, your bachelor's, your master's, but like links like stands on top of it all, right? I mean, of course, any particular job that you get linked to, you have to be able to do it, right? But in terms of like me and this person being on the same playing field, or them probably having more practical experience than me, but because I know so and so, I get in. So like watching it at eye level, you will particularly see that that's unfair. You know what I mean? But as he said, that our links is only bad when the person don't have it. You know. So I
I
mean, like,
Like people have to do what they have to do, eh? Like,
find links is only bad if you can't do the job. Nepotism, so let's be real, like networking is how you get jobs in general. If you know people and people know you and they like you, that is how you get a job. Networking is, they always tell you network with people no matter what, because people will know you and then they can decide, listen, I want you for this. But when it comes down to your uncle giving you a job because they're your uncle and you don't know your foot from your hand, that's why I don't like
mhm.
it. Like that is just you wasting resources and taking away from somebody else who can actually do it. By all means, if your uncle know you and you very good at that job, big up you. Happy for you once you're doing it. That's my whole take on it. But like generally, it is very disheartening to see a situation where you and another person are on the same level of qualifications, and they get it because that's their uncle, that's their father friend. But unfortunately, that's just how the world goes. Like I have come to terms with certain things, and it's sad. But nepotism is kind of how things go, especially in this country. Your uncle know you, your father know you, your brother, you're most likely gonna get through. I'm not saying accept that and don't change it, but certain things you'll just see not changing anytime soon. So, but that's why I agree now that if you could do the job, fine by me, because nepotism not going anywhere. But once you could do the job,
Well, like interested. He said how it's not what you know, it's who you know. That saying has been around for ages now. So he said you have to network. Whoever don't hard looks, and I'm not really a networking kind of fella too. You understand what I'm saying? So it sucks. I mean, like that is how the world is, and based on nepotism as well. Because I've seen many cases where that happen, and it's like you can't do nothing. You can do that
Well,
again.
exactly. Although that is the case, what would you say for someone who's a beginner?
Who's a
'Cause,
beginner?
yeah, like someone just out of school, because of course they started at kind of like at ground zero.
Well, in particular with that person, I guess he had to start networking from early because, like we said, if you don't know nobody, hard luck because it have many people who have went through rigorous education, rigorous studying through UE, and right now they're just saying no on the degrees because they can't get any jobs. It's like people like literally who start down there, people who have like a lot of theory in their head, like have no experience because people looking for experience but not willing to give it out, not willing to share. You understand what I mean? And
yeah,
then
that reminds me of that girl in the news today who said she applied to 100 jobs and not one response, and she ended up working. And these are jobs not only in her field but outside of her field, and she had to take like a low level job just to make it. And she was talking about how depressing that is. And that leads me to another thing. That's why our country is going to experience so much brain drain. You have all these skilled people, all these educated
mm,
people, and you have no opportunities for them. That is not efficient. It's just gonna become where they just join jobs, get money, and not even give a crap about it. So the level of productivity gonna be low. Everything is gonna be bare minimum, and nothing is going to be to a high standard where you can actually feel good about. So you're just gonna see a lot of young people leaving to Europe or to places that actually want them and can pay them for the amount of time they spend slaving in school. Because let's be real, school is not easy.
Not easy.
School not guaranteed.
Especially if you're going UE, but that's another topic.
You finish your degree. I trying to so the Islam not every time
Yeah,
anymore.
hang in there. I really have a lot of hatred for them.
I understand. So yeah, I mean like, and then on the next hand, it's have people that have field work, have the experience, but then don't have the education to back it up. So then like remember the conversation we had earlier in the office when he was talking about how if like the ministry or the government had educate the farmers and them a little bit more on certain things that we could be beginning more and better revenue based on agriculture within itself. I feel like that is a great idea, but it doesn't happen. So
Yeah,
that
for sure.
so that so there are people with education and no experience, and people with experience but no education. So we are to find some common ground.
And the thing is, like, you can use those people. Like, my thing is, you can utilize those people. So the people with the actual experience and training can teach the people who know the theory, and the people who know the theory can teach the people. Because let's be real, if you're doing something in a practical sense, you have to have some kind of idea on what this is related to. So the people with the theory
Mhm.
are just going to fill in minor gaps. And the same thing with people who have no experience but the theory. Now it's just time to apply it. You just need to provide certain opportunities for people and they can blossom. And people will say that the government does put out a lot of programs to help you learn trades, learn different skills, and that is very true. Big up them for that. But however, let's be real, the people who need these the most, do they have access to this? Can
Big
they
up the
see this?
challenge.
Yeah, can they see these opportunities that are being provided for them? And then you
That
have
is
to
true.
also understand people from a certain area, from certain areas, there's a lot of stigma attached to them, there's a lot of stereotypes, and also those people face a lot of um criticism within their communities from trying to do better. There's a certain
Mm.
kind of what do you call it, like an environment where it's like toxic. They want you to stay down and suffer or do a life of crime in order to achieve what you want. So when people try to big up themselves and do better, like in more traditional roots, you will see people from the community real a puppy showing them or making them feel like if they are outcast. So then it goes back to really addressing what is going on in our culture and how do we go about changing that? Is it that you start in community centers within those within those specific communities from a very young age, and you stay with those people, kind of like to make sure that they have that what do you call it, direction in their life for a very long period of time, especially young males who live within very very violent communities where there's a lot of gang leaders and all that, or who lack father figures, for example. These people, they look up to gang leaders as these authority figures and that kind of life because it provides security and money for their families. And let's be real, that's what you need the most. That's what you need from the beginning. And if you're so preoccupied finding those things, you're never gonna have an opportunity to fulfill different needs or to learn and grow in different areas of your life because you're always studying. I had to eat tonight and I had to make sure my family's safe. So I think it's really important to get into those communities, and not just those communities in general, but like in all, and really try to educate people on the opportunities it has out there. Because you can have all the opportunities in the world, but if people are not exposed to it, then they will never benefit.
True, true, true. Uh, like I said, it's really
But wait,
mindset. Huh?
wait, Tom, wait. I'm sorry
You think
again, eh?
you don't just
But
know why to talk or something like you just like a
No,
Cody
but I want
man.
to like talk on what she said though, with like,
Well, well,
especially with the males, right? And like how they grow up. My thing is, yeah, you could put it. I feel like the government already tried those things where like, they put community centers and blah blah blah, but a lot of people don't utilize it.
No, and on that too, like, okay, you build a community center, but what you doing in there? Are you hosting events regularly? Are you actively trying to meet the community, or are you just doing that to look good and get votes and then dust it, and that just becomes a
No, but
empty
like I
building?
could talk about the
hmm,
one down by me specifically.
and get
Like
votes.
Yeah,
like
because
they had,
definitely not all of them are gonna be the same. They're gonna
I
have
know,
some that actually work, and they're always going to have some that don't work. What I'm trying to say is, make
Yeah,
sure that the
Mrs. Sarah
system
spitting.
is working efficiently. So
Definitely.
don't leave any nuts to fall out, and then you realize you can't break down later on. You always had to be on it. Is this thing that I put in place working? Let's check it out. What needs to be fixed? You can't wait till something just deteriorates over time and then be like, oh, ways how that happened. Now we had to start over, money loss. Because if you invested in something, you have to invest in it long term. It can't just be a one in, one out. If you want to see things through, if you want to see real progress, you want to see real change, then you have to stick with it. And it needs to be consistent along all levels. So some communities will do better, definitely, because they have that input. But what about the ones that lack in it? That's where it comes down to the government making sure that, hey, we are doing this within all these communities. And yes, things will be hard, there will be certain barriers that you will face, but we always have to try to find a specific solution to those things. And most of the time, it can really just be by meeting with people in those communities and actually understanding them and actually listening to them, not pretending to care, not pretending to listen just because you want them on TV to smile at you, but really trying to understand what these people are going through, understand their struggle, and if you genuinely want to make a difference, care about them, show them how you care. And I mean, I will have a few who don't care and want to be all, I don't want nothing and bad man this, and you know what? Let them go. Let them go. You try, you try, you try.
On them.
You can't continue to waste resources on people who don't want it, but you have people who dare and who want it, and you need to be more active and more present to actually reach them. Those people, they face so much trauma and thing growing up, or just like difficult life situations, that they heard all the BS before. They heard all the broken promises, all the, we want this for you and you deserve this, but it's action. And that's where it's lacking in this country. People have a lot of talk, but when you look at the action, it's like, where is it? And then they say young people don't want to do nothing or get into this. Let's be real. Why would young people want to get into something that they know is broken? You want
Classic
to come in
thing.
here sweaty and so ready for change. You as a young individual, so excited, so ready to put your ideas out there and make change. And then you see the system just, you don't even care what you think. Some people don't even want you to be talking all that. Like, why would young people want to get into that? So it's really just the culture here, and culture is a very hard thing to change, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. And I think the really first step is just being consistent. The inconsistency is what is making us not see any results, or significant results, I might say, that actually shows that we're improving. Of course, some improvement is happening, but is it substantial? Is it anything that you can say really making a huge difference and helping all these people?
Now,
And speaking about
she actually super hot
mm,
fire.
and speaking
Type in
about
each of
culture,
the Vegas.
and speaking about culture, right, that gets into our next topic, actually, with how parenting has changed throughout Trinidad. You know what I mean? And we could literally base it over the same stuff about the youth and everything, about the mindset of the parents as well. So yeah, let me get into that. That's why I want to hear your take, because I think this was the topic that you decided to bring to light. So I wanna hear, like, how your mother treating you?
My mother is treating me excellent, of course.
Nice, 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 nice. So,
Um,
what you think, like, greatly changed our parenting in Trinidad or even around the world itself?
well, in Trinidad, I would say one of the things that have affected us, especially greatly in the modern age, is, well, besides corporal punishment, is the idea to parents, well, parents around my parents' generation, that apparently the emotional development of the children is also important. And I say this because most parents, go about making children as they do and whatever, right? They'll put them in the best schools and things because they obviously they care about the education. They'll watch after their health and stuff like that, right? But then they don't really prepare them for the other, aspects of life. You know, understand? Like the more, I guess, emotional side of life. And the thing is, no one really teaches you about it. It's just something you develop, and over time, yes, some people develop it and others don't. You understand? That's why you
Mm.
see in today's society we have a lot of extremes in terms of behavior between adulting teens to adults, basically, or between young adults and teens growing up. Because now you see a lot of these movements come around. I'm not saying that they're bad or anything, right? But sometimes if you watch from like the red pill side, I guess, right? You might hear terms such as toxic masculinity and stuff like that, right? Or if you're watching, I guess, from the blue pill side, you might hear that men need to be more emotional or something like that, right? And then it leaves you in this gray area because, like, you might not have been like thinking about something like that, right? Because while you're going to school, your parents not really talking about it. No one's really talking about it. You're just trying to be you, right? And now here you are in this situation where you find yourself unable to like function on either side of the spectrum, and you're like between your lines trying to figure out which direction you should go in. You understand? And then there's things like parents, let's be real. When we was younger, our parents wasn't afraid to embarrass us at all. In public, real easy, right? But,
Easy. Even
but
now.
yeah, even now. But the thing is, obviously back then, when you get embarrassed in public, it's just the people who in public seeing you, just the people who in your general vicinity seeing you, and you feel shame and whatever. But you'll
Now
probably
it's
never see those
everybody.
people again, right? But now with the advent of technology, millions of people around the world, the Caribbean and everything can be seeing you. You get all this negative, treatment and everything based on a situation that could have gone on months or even years ago, you understand? And it leaves you in an area where
Traumatized.
now you have to, yeah, where you have to like battle and deal with all these things. So it's like, what has really changed between, parenting in the 1980s to parenting now in 2022, you know?
Like, but you ever feel like the parents of like your grandparents and your parents, like they hate that the fact that the world changed. Like you ever like they ever sit down there and talk about like stupidness like back in my day, I had
Yeah,
to total
Very,
water
very
down
stuck
the
in their
hill
ways.
and thing.
Yeah.
Like I saw you now, Jack and Jill. It's not my fault. We had tap water and thing in the house. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah.
And
I
Like,
can't even entertain those conversations. Like, you're not happy that life better for your children and
like you
grandchildren.
understand what I'm
That
saying?
sounds messed up.
Never done that
Like they had to
though.
walk to
It's just
school.
like,
They had to walk to school and slippers and thing. Like I sorry, Brett. You understand what I mean? Like
you know,
exactly,
because
because you would
you
think with the progress.
Well,
Sorry for cutting you to me, John Wick. Right? You think with the progress of technology and everything, right? That you would want to provide a better life, obviously, and that
exactly.
doesn't mean that there isn't struggle. It just means each
Mm-hmm.
generation has a different type of struggle,
Type
right?
of sure, that's a fact.
And
exactly. Because I feel
Yeah,
like
it,
yeah,
in
it,
yeah.
this generation we struggle more mentally than theirs, and they contradict themselves a lot because they be like, "Oh, you're the next generation. You'll have to improve things for all the generation, but they want to bash us on what our generation gave us." That's crazy.
But then you see people think like I said when when in terms of like the saying like the technology, like hate how things advance. But on the other hand, they believe that's how people like providing a shelter for you, giving you food, clothes on your back, like it's supposed to be good. You understand? Like
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
like of course people will say you have to be grateful and stuff, but like them thinking that nothing should be wrong with you because
Exactly.
they can
Because of that.
because they're providing that. And I
And
think
then
Yeah,
like
I
like
mean,
one of the major problems in Trinidad and the
and
Caribbean on a whole.
yeah,
there's room to be
Understand?
grateful and still want more, like
Mm,
emotional development, for example. A lot of
exactly
parents
because
grow up very emotionally unavailable, and they think providing basic necessities is is enough. Like it's like no, I'm sorry to tell you, but that's the bare minimum, and I don't mean it with any disrespect. But that's the basic set of stuff you could give your child, which is necessary. Like emotional awareness should be within those bare minimum category too. Like you should be able to listen to your child and not just shut them down or make them feel inferior or stupid or
mm,
like a wuss for crying or wanting to be heard or seen. Like a lot of it is just our parents, they were taught by their grandparents and they didn't really develop that emotional side, and it's just like repeating those broken patterns. It's like a curse, to be honest, because it's too much people in the Caribbean could have the same story about growing up rough and tough, and that's just how it's supposed to be. Like the
I
whole
mean I
struggle
definitely
identity, I'm
So,
over it. Like life is not meant to be a whole struggle and a whole hard life. Like it could be good. Like I'm not saying you're not gonna have hard times, but it's not supposed to be all bad or majority bad.
like I remember this particular
mm,
scenario with this little child, right? This boy, right? Like like his mentality, like he's probably like around 10 something. So like his mentality is like I guess it's because how his parents like used to talk to him and such. Now that literally anybody above his age talks to him, like if you try to ask him a question, if you want to get to know him, his face and his tone changes like somber, as in like he's afraid of you, anybody older than him, eh? Like he's like yeah, he's supposed to listen to what you say, he's supposed to do everything you say. And like if he don't answer or do anything, like he takes everything as in like you go and do something, or like you're doing something wrong. And I find that emotional trauma and this avoid like that age could be very catastrophic for him growing up in society. Like just imagine like you could be like having a normal conversation with him, just trying to get to know his name, but he's afraid of you
mhm.
because of how his parents used to talk to him in the household itself. You know what I mean? So like I feel like regardless of whatever struggles your parents had, your grandparents had, your great grandparents had, I feel that we need to evolve. Although technology evolve, I feel we also need to evolve because
I
people
100% agree
people
with you.
themselves are evolving. You
But my
know?
thing is, I think the problem doesn't really stem from poverty because a comparison parents like to say is like, look at them children in Africa, them have nothing and them happy, right? But the thing is, right, those children are spending a lot more time with their family, whether it be in the family business, working or doing stuff. They're
That's
actually
a fact.
actively being one with their family, getting to be with each other more, express with each other, be open more,
um,
right? And
as
Like,
as
that
as a fellow African, I will disagree. I will completely disagree. Completely disagree with that. But go
like
ahead.
you ever see those little children on the side, like with the family selling like oranges and stuff. Them children
mhm.
are really having such a fun time, even though like they're trying
Even
to
though that
make ends meet and
yeah,
stuff. It's just
exactly.
because they're so
They
close
just
with their
make the best
parents
of life.
themselves. Yeah, because they're so close with their parents themselves. Like not plenty people have that kind of connection. You understand? So
But going back to thing was saying, you always say that like the mass of oppression is deeply rooted into our society from like slavery. If we can't really like from our parents' point of view. or we can't really. They always oppressing us to do certain things, like oppressing our thoughts, our like individualism. Like if you say we start to grow up, become teens, right? And we start to think for ourselves, and they will start to, try to bring us back to the level of that sort of control. Fully
Like
understand what I'm trying to say.
I didn't want to say that now because like there are some cases where children just disrespectful all the time, you know. Like children sometimes like children just wanna act and be too grown. You understand what I mean? Like
Yeah.
certain circumstances. Whereas in like you getting talked to a certain way or treated a certain way for your own good, and you fail to realize that because you just wanna be the next thing out. You just want people to notice you. Everybody else notice you. You wanna, and so you're doing everything out of the ordinary. You're going above and beyond to disrespect your parents and stuff. I just find is a very thin line between oppression and just plain out being rude us. Like, because I understand what you
Yeah.
mean. Like,
Yeah, but so what
because
was
like
I'm
people
saying? I ain't trying to
they
be
want
racist,
to.
but white
Racist, go ahead.
children, white children, right, tend to be more,
Yeah, that
more
was gonna be like I was gonna be like
disrespectful towards their
Americans.
parents.
They're more like I would actually say China is
Exactly.
really good
They
in
don't get
like
no patas.
raising our children.
They don't get
I
no
feel like
patas.
Americans.
Exactly.
Wait,
They
what you
don't
say?
get no patas. You will say that
No, but you saying that
that's
because,
caused
like
from
I said, you saying that because Caribbean people only know one method of training is to
Licks.
beat
we
them
we
black and blue.
speaking we
Licks and
speaking
No,
not
yeah.
even
in
that
in
though,
not in that context
Your
though.
Caribbean mother watch you a certain kind of way,
Exactly.
pat down
Right,
over
because
there.
you're accustomed getting licks. I don't think
Yeah, but
fair
I
is
Yeah,
as
but
saying
good.
I
No,
saying from
I
the
don't
no
I've
no
seen
necessarily.
it for
I saying
myself.
from the
Lex does not work. Lex does not work. And I have some
I'm
children who
sorry,
grown up now.
I disagree.
No,
I
and I
disagree.
think
Yeah.
I think Lex work for a certain generation, like maybe
Yeah,
us and
I
the
think
generation
our
before.
generation,
But you
but
see
that's a
now,
bad thing though.
yeah, no, it
The
is
fact that we had
definitely
to
that.
live out
have
of
a
fair
balance.
lick.
Corporal
We talked about
punishment
this
is
already though.
terrible. Like you're actually just
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have
I
a
don't
whole
know
traumatizing
what
the
it's
video
saying.
on
child
this.
instead of
Stay
helping
tuned for
them.
the video, guys. We have a whole video on this coming out soon, A little teaser. And I had a thing there.
Oh yes,
But I
right.
was
That's
talking
what I
about
mean.
from the point of like what slavery has done though. Like see how the white people don't really you see even British people and they don't really beat their children. It's only we black people who actually beating with children excessively.
So
So
You think that's a bad thing or a good thing?
beating your children to slavery.
yes,
No,
yes,
okay. So
yes.
recently, I realized that okay, so definitely two things can occur, and you can definitely say there's a correlation, but not necessarily, because there are white people, for example, who abuse their children to the point of like,
That's a
listen to
fact.
me, like, so I don't think that you could necessarily say that black people beat their children or use corporal punishment as a form of discipline due to slavery. Like I find that's a kind of very wild statement to make. Like
That part
the
of our
evidence
culture.
for that. No, no, definitely there is a contributing factor. But to say
I
that, like to relate the two, I mean I kind of find
yeah,
that
well it kinda relate to it when you say it's a factor though. So
yeah, something can relate, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it occurs because of one thing, like
I wasn't
Yeah,
saying it that
correlation
could
doesn't
Well,
equal
I
I
say
causation.
it's
mean,
a like a
oh no,
factor
that's what I
okay,
thought you said. That's why I
oh,
asked.
okay. Oh
I mean, I
yeah.
could say that's how we could base it off of like what we just particularly see and know. Because I mean, like the Caribbean is a black based demographic mainly, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of like and then especially what we like I said what we see on the media and what they allow us to see, is like mainly black people, know how to like discipline their children, as in like, beat them, watch them a certain way, cut eye, as we call it in Trinidad, and like talk to them aggressively in terms of like, like white people children throwing tantrums, and they're not doing them anything, but like trying to calm them,
But
then
So a
like
beautiful example is when you're going like a grocery store, Before you hit that grocery store, your parents telling you, don't touch nothing, don't ask nothing, I'm not buying it. with a white child. Mommy, I want this. Mommy, I want that. And they might try to join ground. If I do that, go store, it not happening to me. Can't ask in front of everybody. Everybody.
Right. So like, where's the fine line? As in, like, we agree that Kodz is the solution for parenting, or we have a middle ground,
Have to
as
have
in,
a
like,
balance.
Personally, I
Have
don't
to have
think
a
so.
balance. Have to
Personally,
you
I
have
don't
a
don't.
agree
balance.
with
I
it?
don't think it does work. I don't think. I think it's just embarrass the child, traumatize them. Like, yeah, it might get a few to listen, but is that child listening because they know they're doing something wrong, or is it just because
No,
they're
it's out
saying,
of fear. That is what
yeah, exactly. So I
that's
think
why I
that's
say
just
in the
trauma.
podcast,
I think that's just trauma.
check out that video,
Hey,
fellas. That got a job. That's
And
what it is.
we we're making too much too.
also
Too
too,
much.
is it like just making the child, like growing the child up to be a people pleaser eventually? So like if somebody show you that same level of authority, are you gonna just, like also
Which
listen
is
to them?
back to what I say with the little child, as in, like,
Yeah, like
because
I
of how his
definitely think it's
parents like treated him, he, like, the slightest thing can make him like somebody. Like, you could dead be telling this boy, like, well,
yeah,
like,
like
if
not
he could speak
everybody
this,
has that tough skin to just be like,
you know.
it's okay,
So
it's not that deep, Like some people really, it really affects them long term too. And that's why I don't think it's a
that's the
good
thing,
thing.
and that's why most of them rebel, and which
Yeah,
leads to all this stuff on them.
yep.
So wait, you
So
will never beat your children.
No,
Yes,
I
I don't
definitely
have
will.
most
I
definitely
definitely
yes.
will cut
I
their.
don't want to have children
Most
because I
definitely.
think
see,
I think
culture again. There's Trinity board.
It's not that.
like
No,
so
it's
like
not
most
Board.
that.
Not
time when
culture.
you're
No,
with
Like
your
it's
I
children,
definitely feel that at a certain age, I'm going to ease off the licks. You understand? I'm not gonna resort to the belt.
But you
Which
sounding
they are
like, you see
facing.
that you talking about like he's on the legs. You sounding like he get legs for breakfast, lunch, and dinner,
lunch
bro.
and dinner.
No,
Like,
that's
I
not
say
what
it's
I
have to
mean.
have a
What
balance.
I
You have
mean
to know
is at a
beat
specific
one, what not
age,
to beat
right?
two.
Exactly. At a specific age, right? I think it's important, right? That they know the same way that a baby knows if it touch fire, it will get burned, right? That they know if they do something wrong,
Man,
right?
leaking too
That there are
much
gonna be
things on the
consequences to
podcast,
their
bro.
action, right? But then at a certain age, I expect them to have reasoning and the reasoning to be fully developed that I won't need to be reaching for the belt, right? Every time as the first result. That's what I mean by easing off the licks. Like I
not
definitely
gonna
don't
lie,
feel after the age
It,
of like 10, I should be pulling that belt to beat your ass right through. Like that's no.
everybody that was so quick to say yes, like, well, there has
Cody,
some
you say you
trauma
believe in
behind
the
all their
Bible,
lying.
right?
But
tell them
Cody,
they
you
put the
say you
I
believe in the
agree.
Bible to a certain point, right?
yeah,
I think
But what,
a little
Sarah?
stuff,
Sarah,
like a
you
little
believe in the Bible to a certain point?
who me?
Yeah.
Boy, I feel like that's a whole other topic for a whole other day. Like,
Right.
yeah, but like that's a
Podcast
whole
number
other
2 for
topic.
that one,
Okay,
yeah? Or
but
you go spam we up if you want another podcast to diving into that topic. But what I
I
was
still
gonna
think
say
that
is
Bible one.
what I was gonna say is the Bible says even the Bible says to beat your children though. That's only
then there's so
if
much
in
spare
a
roads for
Yes,
the
but
child.
these people is be
yeah,
using these things and milking it. Like you cannot be
you'll be
beating your
dragging it.
son until he black and blue, and then you say the Lord send you to do that. Like no, stop
Yeah, but
involving
if the
God
saying,
in them mad thing.
what is
Like
the saying? Spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yeah.
Or
Steady run and
so,
spoil the
like,
child.
but I think that means don't beat them though. If they're saying spare the rod, spoil the child.
Well, yeah, if you
Are you
steer the
sparing
rod,
the
if you
that's
don't,
children?
giving
yeah,
that's giving some literature
All that
vibes.
means to beat them though.
I need to analyze that and
No,
see what
the
it
verse
really
is saying
mean.
if
Like
you spare the rod, you'll spoil the child. That's what the verse is
Or
saying.
if you spare the rod, you'll spoil the child.
Yes.
yeah, that's what
And which
And if
Cody.
and
testament
if
that
you
was
and if
used?
you do spare the rod, what gonna happen to the child? What happened to those? You remember that girl? I show all you remember the girl who was talking to Justin and she went on Facebook and beat her alive
Justin.
and called her mad. Like what about
Yeah.
her? I just wonder how she doing now and like because I show everybody don't ever let her forget her. Like
She
how you
definitely ain't spoiled.
Why
how
would
you
she go and forget that though, her mother? She know her
exactly
mother
like
and she will turn
your
once against her mother.
your
So
future employers might even know that as that girl. Like that to me, I
She
don't think that
definitely ain't
is
get
going to
spoiled.
mess. Turin, don't I don't know about all you, but I don't find Turin does learn from licks
Yeah, trend.
or from embarrassments and thing, like Turin have a different kind of immunity
So
when it
say
comes to that.
they
Like,
don't learn
they
from you
will
telling
come
them
back,
over and over.
they will come back 10 times over and they might do something worse and then you just be like, But I don't
But
understand why
that
licks,
is
because
within a
licks is
particular
not the
age.
answer.
I believe there's a particular age group as well because we don't like children in like the teens and stuff. Like everything is social media based, so like them would care. As in, like you can't be no 16-year-old like they wanna cut your ass live. You understand what I'm saying? For
You would be
like
surprised. You would be surprised how
for
some
the
of
world
them.
to see, and then you go back and do the same shit. When it's like, I would think that would be crazy
Yeah, just
to
don't get
actually do
caught,
that.
just don't get caught the next time. And have people out there who like that, you know. That's why I say licks don't
Oh
work.
my
It's
gosh,
just
That's
that's a
it just
interesting.
make
mentality.
them more sneakier and
That's a
smarter
mentality, bro.
in them sense sometimes. Like some of them
That
children
is
they just be
sad.
like, see how it is? I'll do this way. Like some children really don't learn. And also another point to draw on is to
I'd be
when you
damned
look
as
at
hell if my mother or my father try to beat me.
when you look at
Me
those
basically.
parents, right, who beats any child, nobody does ever question what that parent doing to show that child that because we're trying to literally just mimic behavior that they know from their parents, right?
That's our next thing. That's our
So,
next
so
thing.
that's another thing. Like you're embarrassing your child, but you checking yourself. You checking to see how your life choices impacting them because children
Mm.
literally are just products of their environment. They are
And
all
that's
growing
why
and navigating, and that's why I don't think licks is going to make somebody automatically know and make the right decisions. It's always going to be fair based.
we're
Okay,
talking about the
I
So
see
you
changes.
the
need
point
to
she's making because
you need to talk to the person like a human being. One, and you need to be willing to listen and understand. As a teenager,
I
we
see the
all
point.
know it has been difficult navigating emotions and just growing up. And that's where I think a lot of parents, because of their lack of intelligence, both academically and let's say emotionally, it stunts them and they can only do as much as they know. And if they only know licks and they only know to disrespect you or make you feel small, that is what they're going to do. But as somebody mentioned too, you can't keep blaming your parents or your grandparents for the way it turned out. At a certain point, you just have to take that responsibility upon your own self and say, listen, I didn't have the best upbringing, but I know better, let me do better. Or there's better out there, let me go try to find it and learn it and then improve. You know, like it can't be just, well, I see this happen, so I just go and continue. At a certain age, you be able to think for yourself, and that's when you can make better decisions to not repeat old patterns.
I have a question for you all guys, right? I have a question.
Wait, before that, interest said that how you say you prefer to buff or turn talky children, but that and all that for certain children that could scare them too. So you just I don't know. You
Yeah, but
can't even
it's
say I
what
don't
kind
know
of
a
buff?
child because you never
What
know.
kind of buff? You know, is it like you're so stupid, your father this, that way you come out just so?
No,
Yes,
no,
yes.
no, no,
Or
Like
is
no,
it
that,
no, no,
that,
no,
is
that,
it
That's
no,
our
that.
no,
next
no.
thing.
hey,
That's
Yeah,
our
that's
next
the
I
next thing.
really is it hey, that what you did was
and that's what
very
teenagers do.
disappointing.
Like, why
I'm
you
Exactly.
do this shit?
unexpected.
Why
Like
you know what I'm
I
saying?
do think most parents, when they beat their children, definitely take out the angers and frustrations of their life in
Yeah,
general
some of
on
them just be
the children.
enjoying it. Some of them just be
But
enjoying it.
but
Enjoying.
that's not how
It's
you should be.
That's
crazy.
a
That's
fact.
not how you should be disciplining your children. Of course not.
Definitely not.
Yeah,
Definitely not.
but
That's
Like,
why I
there's
think
Any
like
emotional
there's
intelligence should be
instead of here we go
something.
getting that like you're stripper up, like you're just like your father, all
it's
kinds of
just like
stuff,
yeah,
bro.
all kind of thing.
anyhow,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
and that's kind of how our
that
culture
that
is
could
too.
spiral into a
To
whole
just
nother topic, to be honest, because like,
But I don't know, but
bro, I
that
tell you, we could go into especially in
I find
single
that's one of the
parent houses,
worst things to do
especially in
though. Like,
single mother houses, how
yeah,
basically the
that's why I
mother
think
use that
in
to like
general.
manipulate their children. So like that could be an entirely different topic. So
No, but
like
on a general, my solution to this is just improving your emotional intelligence as an individual so that you would know better. Like we could go into all those different types of households and all the different trauma, whatever. But once people have that education about emotional intelligence, emotional awareness, and how their trauma affected them and why it might make them do certain things, and then give them the tools to unlearn bad behavior and develop better habits. I think that's where it all starts. And that's kind of like your responsibility, your sole responsibility. Because nobody gonna come in your life and take control of you and make better decisions. At the end of the day, you can't control other people. Some people will never take accountability. Some people will never want to do better. but it's all up to you on how you deal with it, because you can't just say, well, this person never take accountability or they never say sorry, so I'm gonna live my life vexed, because you're not going to get what you want. And that's where you just have to do what is gonna be beneficial to you in the long run.
Right, but
All right.
what I was gonna say, you'll say that how beating your children is like a form of release from life for the parents. Cause what you all ever get into a fight?
Listen,
You
parents.
all
At
ever got
least
into
you
a
say,
fight?
that sounded very sus.
Bro, that's
Listen,
Oh
parents
my!
who kind of
You all
say,
ever got into a fight?
Oh,
Why?
why would I fight
No,
anybody?
no.
anyhow.
Jesus
I
Christ!
want to get
In
into this.
niggas in the chat, you all ever get into a fight?
I think it's very ghetto. I do not condone it. Like, I not ended up
Yeah,
on
very
no,
good.
Yeah.
I not ended up on no MYOB. Like,
All right,
no,
all right, all right.
Right, I know Cody cuff out a man already. I'm sure I took cuff out a man
Guys,
already. So
this
I'll
is just
probably cuff out a man. How it does feel during that moment?
how it is feel.
Frustrated.
Yeah.
Real fucking good.
Well,
I mean, it depends on why we going off topic, like talking about
Now,
this.
why is
Like,
no,
it
that's
I
different
trying to
topic.
bring it back.
Let me ask the
Trying to
question
pull me
that's
up
gonna
Trying to
lead the
bring it
topic along.
back.
Let me ask the question that's gonna lead the topic along, okay? Because that's a different question.
No, I'm
Um,
trying to bring it back because what I was saying now how is a form of release, right? From like life for the parents when they beating each other. I was like saying, like when you're fighting too, you feel the same way, you're releasing all the anger, whatever. So I was saying, if that's like therapeutic for some parents to beat their children.
I mean, maybe it is for some parents.
Therapeutic.
And no, I have this question.
Well, that's so
What do
crazy.
you
I
all
can't stand it here.
what do you all feel about the statement? I've did my best. I tried my best, right? Because
That's
some
just a
parents,
We have
that's
some
parents who
parents,
try their
it's
best
just
with
a
some
child though.
parents would say that statement as a justification
them they say
for
that too
all the
easy. Them they say
negligence
that too
that
easy.
that
That's
they
just
did.
That's
You
just like a
understand? And then
lackadaisical
they
way
No,
of like
but
torturing.
I honestly
that is
accept
have
that
a
instead
parents
of
two
who
sides.
says
apologizing in
that.
some cases.
No, but I have parents who says that I honestly understand because our parents can't make our decisions for us. So like
Not.
if my parents say, hey, they don't like this person wrong me, I continue having the person and I didn't realize that person doing me shit, but oh well, up to them me and person still friends, then my parents warn me and I still made that decision on still being there for whatever. Like your parents just generally like try to guide it. Well, okay, let me say parents. Some parents has the best interest for their children. So I
Okay,
think parents
that's
do
Understandable.
one
try
way of
their
looking
best.
at the statement. That's one way of looking at the statement. I was talking about it as it relating to parenting on a whole. When they say I did my best, even though in some circumstances, even just doing just a little bit more, right? Sometimes it isn't about financial or anything. Sometimes it's just a mere fact of just spending more time, you
I
understand?
think that's just an easy statement out to just say leave me
Exactly.
alone, essentially. Like, you know, like you trying to say
Yeah.
what I did wasn't enough. And then somebody mentioned something about parents, like they caring for your best interest. Recently, I also realized that a lot of people, you know, we tend to forget parents are people too, and a lot of them could have mental issues from their upbringing with all that trauma that they experience, that they put it onto people. And that leads me to understand that that's why I said it's all up to you, because even though people are your parents, they're still people first and they still have a bunch of crap we don't know about. And that definitely impacts the way in which they parent, or in the way in which they show up in that relationship as a parent as well. So it's all to me, everything just goes back to your childhood and your trauma. Because if you get messed up and you never try to fix it, you're gonna mess up your children and the cycle continues.
It's not even if you try to
Yeah.
fix it though, because I still disagree with that statement. You could try to fix it and guess what? It harms you for life.
Yeah, true. There's some
Through
people
the
like they
child.
can do all the therapy, they could
And
do
I'm talking
all
about
the
parents, not
You
children.
talk about the child.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Parents.
I think
Fixing your parents.
there's like you can do all the work to really try to just get over certain things or just be better. And that crap that you went through could scar you for life. Yeah, but then again, are you gonna continue to live your life like reminiscing on these scars? Or just trying to be like, you know what,
I
that
don't
happened.
even think it means like you're reminiscing on it. I feel like But
Like,
I mean, scar you. I mean, like still like a lot of things still affect you.
well,
Like let's say,
definitely. I don't think like putting in the work is necessarily going to get rid of certain tendencies or just coping mechanisms or just the way in which you view things maybe. But it's a start, and I think a start is better than nothing. Or it just is like it's just an improvement from yesterday. Like you're out of that situation, or you're still in a situation, but you improving your mindset to deal with it a little better. Because let's be real, the only change that you can really put out there it begins with you, unfortunately. For those people who suffer very traumatic childhoods of abuse or like sexual abuse, all those things. Oh my god. Yeah, it's really wild. So, yeah, hold on. Yeah.
And trust us, like, to be honest, I believe at 20, you can't blame your parents anymore. You have to deal with it for your own sake. And everyone who will ever interact with you sake. It is what it is. 20 though? Nah.
yeah,
I blame, I blame my parents too. Respectful. Um,
I
I
also have to
mean,
blame my parents.
nah,
Or
nah,
you meant just lying, like,
nah.
sir, I know got you.
Let's, let's say we be lying.
yeah,
Yeah.
you are
It's
to
our
have
parental. You
you're
see,
lying.
that's how
Nah,
much
there's no line.
parenting changed throughout the ages now.
Nah, brother. You know how hard it is to go from parent house to parent house when you're young, dog? And you can't socialize with nobody because you had to go from here to here.
Because they're
Yeah.
separate.
Yeah. But one of them was not financially like stable.
Stable.
Yeah,
So
I
she had
understand.
to live in an area where it didn't really have much children and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wasn't socialized there. And I can't get no bitches. So because I socially awkward.
Once you get a bitch. Oh my gosh. So anyway, like, I
And
mean,
calling them bitches means that he has bitches, right? I don't get any sort of
Nah,
like
shut up. It's a
nothing.
meme. It's a meme.
you know what I mean? Okay, so like, yeah. So back to the thing, I mean, like, basically, I think we finished on that topic in regards to, I think, I mean, Caribbean people do better. That is
Caribbean parents do better, and
that's the
this
statement.
generation try to
That's
do
the
better as
statement.
well.
Parents, I find people on a whole, you have to take action responsibility for your own actions. You can't just
Facts.
call out the parents. I have to call out each person.
They're getting
And
caught.
Kiera, I
Now,
only understand your parents going through things too now. Oh gosh.
mm, yeah,
Like
so
yeah. Okay, go
stop
ahead. Sorry.
rushing, stop rushing to go by people's house. Stop rushing to, so people will come and find you. You understand? Just understand, understand your parents, and your parent understand you. That is really it. Yeah, like, and we will go from there. So next, guys, what
You have
next?
a
In
next topic?
fabric.
That is
Oh,
the last two topics I remember. I ain't gonna lie to you. So let's work out something now, because they're here listening to we business.
So you want to talk about them female, the
I
woman.
genuinely cannot remember the last topic, so
I
Yeah.
guess
I
so,
just I
because
know.
you saying that yeah, the fact that Jam Naked was on my birthday and I ain't get no pictures or no pics and no see. But we go talk about that after.
But
Later on
Cody
the
still getting all
info.
the bitches. So we gonna take
That's up.
intermission,
That's
guys.
up.
Doing yes.
That's up. Let me run the intermission. You see,
Run the
that's how you see
intermission.
that light is? We gotta
Instead
run
of
the
girl
intermission
calling
for
them,
sure.
oh, you should have come, you
After
should have
that,
come. Once the
after
thing
that
is
Yeah, I
light
done.
is,
message Cody
man,
said he shall come jam naked.
Exactly, you see. But
it's like,
we
why you
don't
trying to
have
bust on
a
my
we don't have a
spice?
suspect. We don't have a
Hmm.
witness, you see.
Why you bust on my
Alright.
Wait,
Intermission.
so stupid.
This is not ordinary. This is not ordinary. This shit is not ordinary. My shawty extraordinary. I made a wish, I think that girl a fairy. I hope that everybody here can hear me. She be saying la di da di da. Yeah. She think it's a game, but I'm never gonna stop. Yeah. And every day I go round the clock. I tell her time of the bond you out. I took your heart and I gave it a lock. Password hickory dickory down. Do I have a bird? No, I got a flock. Last week one of my niggas got shot. Told them bro don't worry, we gon' spin the block. And every nigga who they finna drop. Finna drop. This shit is not ordinary.
I bought the drinks, yeah, it's all on me. Running through town, bitch, drugs all on me. When I'm with you, I feel comforting. It gets better for the finer things. Girls don't fall for me, 'cause you don't give me a thing. Yeah, yeah. Give you all my love, KJ, it's not enough. You are my only drug, but you treat me like a thug. So don't come around me, just let me be. All the things for me to say. Girl, I gave you everything.
Everybody can hear me. She be saying la di da di da. Yeah. She think it's a game, but I'm never gonna stop. Yeah. Demons are taking over. Life is falling apart. I can save myself. I feel in this my fault. Ordinary.
Dax.
She doesn't know. And baby, you've been moving underneath, you moving so low. Got me in my mind, asking myself, what don't I know? Baby, just give me a chance, I can show you what I know. And I'm living with a monster. I've been going under, feeling all the thunder. I'm just a kid who wanted fun, though. I walk in the club, they gon' turn up. Baby, I know you gon' fold. My lady try to, she like Fashion Nova. Tell me you love me, my heart getting cold. I never see you, so I'm never sober. Baby, I say, wait, hold up. So tell me, baby, who are you to blame? I ask myself if you the one, I don't really know. You want someone that is new, yeah, I got a lot to go. I'm living with the monsters under my bed. Can somebody save me? Why you try to play me? Yeah, I'm sipping on the Henny, feeling wavy.
You see me ballin', I've been Gucci all the time, so why you callin'? You know that I want you every night and every morning. I was desperate for your love, now I see you callin'. Why you callin'? Ballin', I've been Gucci all the time, so why you callin'? Desperate for your love, yeah, you stallin'. Desperate for your love back then, but I'ma put that in the past now. Put that in the trash, put it in the trash, then hit the gas, leave it in the past now. You cannot take me. Show this shit dancer, call that on camera. Can't understand ya, you're like a master. So never me to your party, please don't get me started. I'm at the deep drilling, then I make do like go hunt and grillin'. Chop on me, I'm spinning. So they make
Back. We back.
And we're back.
What's the topic?
What's the topic? Well, I mean, John Wick says she wanted to talk about men's mental health, considering that
Yeah.
this is men's mental health month, and like nobody really want to talk about it. So
Yeah.
we should just dive
So how have
out.
you been, Cody? You
I
cry
guess
anytime
I
lately?
guess I guess this is our trigger warning right now, because some of this stuff might be sensitive to the outside viewing. We want to start off because if I start to talk about
I want to
mental,
know from y'all, because we have a lot of males in this group.
That's
Do y'all
why.
think how is your mental health going this month? So do you think there's enough awareness about it right now, currently, knowing that there's another community that has been
Yeah,
advertised
to be
more?
honest, I think that community is kind of overshine. Men's mental health month, especially. I find it weird that they put them on the same month because these are two very important well, not problems but issues that we have, same thing, that we have in society, right? So I think having separate months for them would be more advantageous than to put two big problems on the same month and then have them competing for the spotlight.
yeah, I agree with Akili. I was plan to say that actually, as in basis of like, I don't want to like necessarily dictate and say like, oh, they would outshine us. I mean, because like, I find like it's a sad thing that they actually put it on the same month, so that as people don't necessarily would get the same light, you know. So I feel like they should do it on two separate months. You mean, but like in terms of my mental health, I would say that I'm great actually. As in like I tend to like base that off of my personality within myself, like how I view certain things in life. But I've seen my surroundings, I've seen people around me, particularly men, everybody like heard from their experiences. And I can see that how like this is actually a serious problem, like as more serious as I thought. Like I thought that how we will be on like some kind of level playing field, whereas now people especially at my age in a particular place could be not is not mentally stable. I'm thinking about like like emotionally stable, like mentally healthy, but that is not the case. Sad to say. So like yeah, that is my rating on it because like people could say this is the biggest argument that's always happened. Men emotionally unavailable, right? That's the biggest thing. So we could go on and on and on and rant about we grew up to be tough, we grew up to be so and so, da 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 da. You understand what I'm saying? But I believe as a society on a whole, between men and women, I believe that emotional intelligence should not just be something for people to be born with, to learn on their own. I think we should like help one another because, like I said, it will be better for everybody else if we can feed off each other emotionally, if we can communicate with each other very well, and yeah, I believe that it will make men's mental health be in a better place if that was to happen. Because
Agree, but also I want to go back to like how men are raised. It's all about men versus women, how they're raised. Men are more so raised to be emotionally unavailable, as you said, where their needs are not really focused on. If they cry, they're a sissy. If they cry, they're a girl. They're crying, something is wrong. So from a young age, they already know I can't be in touch with my emotions because it makes me look like a sissy or vulnerable, and that's not good. So when they equate that, it already messes up their wiring on how they're supposed to navigate emotions, and they're taught to be tough and always show a lot of aggression, or just like always like be real on your pride and know what you're doing, know what you're saying. And then the other thing is your worth is connected to what you bring home or how much money you make. So it's kind of like you have to go back in raising your children and letting them know that listen, you're worth it because you're worth it, not because of what you bring home or what you could do, what you can't do. And crying is something that is not just for females, like it's for everybody. And the human body does it. And emotions are okay to have. Like they're not gonna last forever. You just have to understand it and navigate through it, and then you can make better decisions. They say women are too emotional, but when you think about it, it's really men who are the emotional ones who can't regulate. And I'm not trying to start a fight. I'm just trying to say that like y'all like they always say women are too emotional, but when you look at it, most of the time it's because men don't know how to regulate their emotions. They're the ones throwing tantrums or getting really aggressive or just shutting down. That's
Okay,
a sign
I'm
of
within
really not knowing how to deal with your emotions. And I'm not trying to make it seem like women know to deal with their emotions. Like we're forced to do a lot of things at an early age to navigate this patriarchal world or whatever. But that's a whole other topic. But I would just like to say that it starts with how you raise your children and how you make them feel heard and seen regardless of their gender. It's just about creating a safe space for them to navigate through life and just feel everything that they need to then develop into a decent human being at least.
I
let's
agree.
see.
Manu,
Okay,
okay.
but But she was spitting fast about men are emotion. Everybody emotional though. It's just what emotion you're showing, you're portraying. Like men show aggression, right? And
Yeah, that's
females
what I'm
tend
saying.
to show
Like,
more caring, But have to have a balance where I say just be a holistic person, a person
mhm.
who, as a man who able to show, a dominant manly side, while also be able to
You can
tap
be like,
into, showing emotions, taking care of family, showing love to your wife, your children, people that you care about. Right, and you could also have that, playful side, your childlike side, it's just to be a holistic
you should be
person.
allowed to be
Nah,
you
hide
without
it
you
out
feeling
inside.
bad
Yeah,
for
be
it.
yourself. Be yourself.
And also don't be ridiculously dickish to people because that's just like why? Like why? We get it. Your daddy never loved you, your mommy never loved you. That doesn't mean that you're supposed to be a dick to somebody. Do better. Know better, do better.
Be walking around like if there's Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Walking away, Batman. So like I will like in terms of like
Oh wait. That's not the answer. Based on based on how that information helps people understand men more, I think a lot of women also should look at how men are raised to try to better understand them. Because we're always so quick to jump to this person is this way. But I think when you try to understand somebody, as in how they grew up or how certain things affect them, then you can communicate with them on a different level. And then you're able to highlight some things and then maybe you will shine some light on something somebody never knew or help them to see why they do certain things because of how they're grown up and then you can take action. I mean, it's not necessarily going to make them take action, but it's also important to understand that men are raised very different from women, and it doesn't just go for women learning men. I think it should be just everybody learning about differences and growing up and making space for people as they navigate through that trauma and try to do better, you know?
on the basis of like how society taught me is like you would think that how society like I would get say like brings to light like certain women struggles and stuff. You would think these stats would show a different energy, you know what I mean? As in like men's suicide rates are higher. You know what I mean? Like men tend to struggle more in the mental department. And like those like those tweets and those posts and stuff, they don't really give out that, like that kind of feel, that kind of vibe. They don't show you the other side in the case of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, some
So I
people
mean,
get
like,
very angry too. Like I find some people they have personal agendas based on their own lives, and sometimes it kind of clouds their judgment. So they don't really want to see how they might be being biased or really just speaking negatively about one gender or stuff like that.
mhm.
Some people have to deal with certain things before they can have like a neutral understanding or come to a neutral ground to just make room like, hey, yo, everybody went through crap and they should all have space to just understand that and, try to work through it. It is like society keeps up so focused on like warring with the other gender. Like that's not the
Yeah,
fight.
it's
Like
always
that's
a
not
fight to see
yeah,
who
like we
have more
both we both
struggles, who
suffer
have more
differently.
strife.
We both suffer differently. It's just about like learning how people navigate through society, like both genders and all the genders, and just trying to improve there. Like it's not a competition against men and women.
Yeah, I mean, like certain stuff, like as you said, men will be treated like a sissy. They'll be called out their names for having these type of emotions, like especially within the Caribbean culture within itself, as in like somebody did something, you run and go and tell, stop being a girl. Like these certain things growing up in life would have you like and shape you differently in a type of way. And I don't think that is right to be trying to downplay someone's struggle based on their gender in particular. And like I said, I think emotional intelligence is something that shouldn't be learned on your own. It should be like you should have help. People should communicate fairly. You know what I mean? And treat it as it is and not what you think it should be. You know what I mean?
So
So
to talk about
so yeah,
mental health and a whole for both factors, women's mental health month was last month.
yeah, like don't try to make someone's mental health more important than the other. Because that is where the division is. As in like interesting, that's how people didn't even know that our mental health month didn't existed. And it was here since the 90s. You know what I mean?
I didn't
So
even
like
know
simple
women's
things like
mental
that.
health exists, so you can't really say for men alone. I feel it's the both, you have to tackle the both sides. So
But that is true as well.
because you were saying also for the, you was talking about from the men point of view, what the woman, like they get raised, they have to be raised a certain way. Oh, you can't do this. Only men does do that, whatever, whatever. It can't be an electrician, only men does do that, so little stuff like that.
We could flip the script and all. Yeah, that is true. That is a
Yeah.
fact. And it's like that's what I mean, like the, what we talking about in terms of like more like in terms of emotions within itself, not necessarily like the physical sense of like in particular what you're saying with jobs and stuff. That could be our next scenario, which is indeed fact because people since long ago, women have been taught and learned that they have to do certain positions, be in certain positions, have to act a certain way. You know what I mean? So it's just on our generation, like and in newer generations, to do better for both of us, for all genders, all races and ethnicities. You know,
Yeah, but we
to
also can't
help.
cast aside the progress we made though. That's what I just talk about it like is think about from how it was back then, I would say things are a lot better. So we can just like downplay the progression that we made too. So we just keep getting better in that regard.
No, but like what that is the case in point. What progression it has for a man's mental health in terms of because they said literally the main expression, the main emotion that gets displayed was anger, and that is even evidence of before, like back then. Whereas in it had
So
like
say
numerous.
it only progress in the female point of things because they could vote, they could go to school
On
now
a
and things,
on
they
an
could learn, they
emotional
could read.
standpoint, I on an emotional
Emotional
standpoint,
standpoint.
and yeah,
Uh,
because we talk about mental health. It has improved significantly for women in the physical point of view as well. But that is we could work both hand in hand with men and women. But in terms of like emotionally, men even back then they just had anger inside them. Men remember back then breadwinners were only men. Like men were trained like as in like Sarah said was to be breadwinners. That was their role and function. So in terms like it had that's why it had numerous domestic violence disputes because that was the only emotion that men really had back then. You know what I mean? That so that that much in change with regards to like society calling you a sissy for crying, calling you a worse, calling you
I mean, I don't
everything
feel
in the
that's the
book.
case in Cody.
Huh?
I don't feel that's the case. What I feel was that anger was one of the only emotions to be openly accepted, you understand? So because these other emotions wasn't as accepted, you understand, like the frustration of being of having to carry the weight of everything as a breadwinner, you understand that you are the sole supporting, structure of your family, right? All that built up anger just has to come on, and when it explodes, it leads to exactly that leads to, I think that it's more of a their release basically of the built up stress rather than it being the only emotion that they know how to express.
Yeah, but so you can say that it's the same scenario for now because people like as I say like the world evolved, but we can say that men's mental health they evolve with it. I mean, like these days, more men are coming out being themselves, showing other types of emotions, and people are accepting to it, but it's on, like, I would say it's not on a
So
scale that we would want it to be. And I think that there's room for improvement and for more progression towards it within itself. Because
I
like I
mean,
said, with my mental health, I didn't know how bad off we were until like you actually saw and did research for yourself. Like I thought we had progressed as well. Because even me growing up hearing these certain things about don't cry, you know, stop telling like a girl certain things. Like even me hearing that for myself, I thought as a community, as a society, we grew past that. But that is particularly not the case. So I genuinely feel that men and women have to do better for the sake of everyone's mental health. And like I said, back to it, emotional intelligence is something that should be treated very seriously. And I mean, like, very, very seriously. It should not be cast aside. It should not be locked away just because you don't want to deal with it, just because you don't want to face it. Because we have emotions that we wouldn't want to be brought up to the light. We wouldn't want to show or stuff, but we have to deal with it accordingly, as it will just eat us up inside, and it can affect others who we truly care for around us and affect ourselves
you
on a
just talk
on a
about
very high scale.
how does how does one become emotionally intelligent?
And like that's why I say that's the thing that we should have like some sort of dialogue between other people, to share our feelings, share how we feel about certain things, how we feel generally on a day to day, what things we can do to improve our life, stuff like that. Like genuinely have somebody to talk to. Like don't be just paying a therapist money to vent to them when you can have friends that you vent to and talk to, people who actually listen to you, who want to listen to you. You know what I mean?
But
They just
yeah, but
have
I talk more
that there.
like you could just talk, but that won't really like elevate you to the level like of like being totally emotionally intelligent. It's like
And
how
that's where these certain conversations come into play. Whereas in like you just like I said, you just not the one talking. Like we have certain level of conversations. How we have in our dialogue right here. Certain level of conversations we get to understand and get to know one another, understand how each other feel. Like that could better help shape people on a whole.
you should understand yourself first before you go and like
And
how to
that
put
is
it.
true. But if you bottle up certain
I ain't
things,
saying to keep it bottled up. I just saying you have to learn about yourself first, right?
yeah,
Because
and
it
that is
makes
true.
the transition better, right?
Yeah,
When you
and
go
that
and
is
talk to
true
somebody
also.
about your
I was also saying like
your
you can
problems
work
and
on
everything.
yourself. Like I said, like, yeah, you can work on yourself. You can, but like I said, like it had this saying that how the happiest people hurt the most. As in, like they can be smiling with you, making you laugh, giddy giddy, and then them have personal struggles. They have demons that they're fighting, and you'll never know. You understand? Because then they keep it to themselves. They don't. They just believe that nobody cares about their problems. So they will learn to tackle it for themselves. And some people are not mentally built for that kind of, strain. So which leads to all these other types of stuff. You know what I mean? So like that's why I say we should work together. Like as in man, woman, child, every creed and race. Like in our national that's yours. So that we could find some kind of clarity and some kind of hold on, eh? So we could just be better, basically. Just be better. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Anything else? Fall asleep or
So is that it, or all of them just fall asleep?
everybody fall asleep.
I'm here.
Yeah, sorry, excuse. Yeah, like yeah, basically you see what I had to say. I mean, like everybody else clearly like I don't know like how they feel about these certain things, but yeah. So I guess we could wrap it up now.
Mm-hmm.
Since everybody too shy.
Yeah, I
Yes.
guess. Just wrap it up quick so we could pull out.
Guys,
Pause.
thanks guys for coming
No.
out to the
Whoa. Okay, Atu.
what?
I hear
What?
you.
What?
You said wrap it up quick so we
Clip
can
I
pull out.
said pause. I said pause.
We can pull out. Well, why you pulling out if you wrap it up?
Yeah, we played.
Hey,
know.
you see,
You
this is
know,
why
the
this
thing
is
is
why he
something
doesn't
to
have
thank our
no
guests.
problem getting
Because
you.
they
Because
could never have
whoa,
too much
whoa.
precautions. They could never have too much precautions.
I think it's time to thank our guests for Tolia.
Yeah,
Thank our guests.
big thanks to Sarah for coming out
this is how
and
men
talk
this
shit
is how
talk.
men deal with their mental health. They make jokes.
Nah, that is how Atto does
Anyway,
it.
thanks.
Oh, okay, but when women do it, you have a
So
problem.
anyway, thanks for coming out,
Don't
guys.
shut me down now, Cody.
We appreciate we appreciate everyone
I'm
coming
sure
out.
somebody in this podcast could talk about that. Sure.
Special thanks to our guest Sarah for coming out. By the way, Dookz, she name doesn't have an H by end. So next time we should we should
You wanna say anything
now
before you leave? You wanna
but
say
yes,
anything before you leave?
Sarah, I don't want to say anything
Oh yeah,
before you-
I just wanted to say thanks for having me, guys. It was really nice. I really like the conversation that you'll have going, and I hope to look forward to more Easy Dubs podcasts. We all do podcasts,
You don't
right?
know.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
thanks.
you don't know.
It was really great talking to all of y'all. You have great minds. I like that.
Very nice. Very, very nice. So insert intro.
Closing,
I mean outro. Insert outro.
Yeah,
Closing.
just run the easy dubs. Just
Closing,
run the easy
not
dubs song.
rapping, closing.
Easy.
Alright, guys, that's it for today. We are going away.
Ain't it? That one ain't it. Sorry, that one ain't it. And I ain't feeling the stream tonight.
Yeah, make sure somebody had to download this one and we go use that.
Easy. 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 Easy.
Welcome back, guys, to another Easy Dubs upload.
Easy.
And today, we're gonna get a dub. Right, guys?
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
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 Alright then. Let's get it.
Easy.
This is Easy Dubs and I'm not even a gamer. I'm a gun, I'm standing with a laser. Bullets busting through, but they're looking like a phaser. We just put him in a gamer. This is Easy Dubs and I'm not even a gamer. I'm a gun, I'm standing with a laser. Bullets busting through, but they're looking like a phaser. We just put him in a gamer. Nigga wanna cross, then we gotta crucify him. You lying. What's the point even trying? Do something to you know you're quick. I wish your job is to get wrecked. These one getting it, so to the next one. So for these niggas, so up to the next. But a nigga ain't tryna do me a penny. None of my cup out of this turn on. So stop in the show like for such a sentence. Go to your son, better go hit you the sentence. Easy. Luckily we have the Kodz. If we are bad, luckily we can just move like a ghost. And we won't go down easily. Easy. We just enjoy the time. Cause we know we're gonna boast them. This easy dogs and I'm not even a gamer. Beam on the gun, I just standing with a laser. Bullets passing through him and they're looking like a phaser. Easy. You just put him in a grave. This easy dogs and I'm not even a gamer. Beam on the gun, I just standing with a laser. Bullets passing through him and they're looking like a phaser. You just put him in a grave. Easy. 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 Easy.